Xplanated, episode number 4. Really happy to be with you today. A lot of stuff to go over today in my findings over the last week or so since the last episode. Had some great feedback on the last episode. Really appreciate all of the new subscribers to both the YouTube channel and to my live stream on twitch.tv/JonFly. The vlog seems to have found a little niche in the flight simulation world, and I think I'm going to continue it. So I hope that you enjoy the content, and feel free to make any suggestions as to what you'd like to see. Just doing a flight here in the background from John Wayne, Orange County, California, down to Palomar. Got some clouds, got some IMC, so we're going to fly this particular flight IFR. So several topics to cover today. First being, some of you have seen my 727 V2 streams, and I've been having a lot of fun. Now, granted, I have a very popular video where I crashed the 727 V2 coming out of Los Angeles International. In fact, it's my third or fourth most popular video, coming up to 1,000 views on that video. Not viral by any means, but in the X-Plane community, maybe 1,000 views is viral. But anyway, in that particular video, I learned a lot about that particular plane and watching your speed using pitch control. So I've gotten a lot better at the Loop 8 departure out of Los Angeles International. And I hesitated to publish that video, but I thought, let's put the mistakes out there. Everything can't be viewed with colored glasses or rose-colored glasses. I've been having a lot of fun doing shared cockpit with JSnap 1982, and by the way, this is GPB 500's KSNA, and it is gorgeous. It's not released, and there's several airports that are not public. So I encourage you to check out his public sceneries on x-plane.org. I'll put a link in the show notes below. The taxiway lines are amazing. So anyway, I've been doing shared cockpit, and JSnap 1982 and I have been learning more and more about that plane. We also did a flight in the IXEG, and he's working on a smart copilot config. So if any of you are interested in the shared cockpit, I encourage you to give it a go with someone else and give feedback to the developers of the config files. It's a lot of fun. That plane's a lot to handle. I mean, when the 727 flew, it was they had 3 pilots. They had the flight engineer, and then the first officer and captain. So doing it by yourself is fun, don't get me wrong, but having 2 people anywhere on the internet in the world flying together in the same plane is a lot of fun. Now, be prepared that there are glitches and a few things that aren't working perfectly, but for the most part, we've had fun. I did publish the YouTube video of our flight just recently, our last shared cockpit, so check that out if you haven't already. Next topic for today is XPlaneCon. There is some traction for a XPlaneCon or XPlane convention that will be held in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, we had a poll on a Facebook group. If you do a Facebook search for XPlaneCon one word, no dashes. You'll find the XPlaneCon Facebook group, and I'll put a link in the show notes below. The idea behind it is well, I don't see X-Plane only conventions or get-togethers. Really, I haven't learned of any myself. And Flight SimCon was such a great success that I figured we could have something that was more focused on X-Plane. So throughout the idea, I got a lot of people very interested, and yeah, we're going to make a go of it. It's going to be held in March. Exact dates have not been narrowed down yet. I am looking for a web developer who could help with registration page and other design, and maybe something that's using WordPress. So if you know how to do a registration page and are a web developer and are watching this vlog, send me an email, and I'd be glad to chat with you about what my ideas are for a very basic website. So, or if you know of anyone, shoot them my way. You can email me at dear, DEAR, at JonFly.com. The first XPlaneCon will be, I'm sure will not be gigantic, but if we can get that first group of people to come together and we can have a roundtable and talk about what would make XPlaneCon 2018 even better than 2017. I think that there is also going to be a cockpit, a very nice cockpit in a hotel suite where we're going to live stream, and we'll take shifts, and we'll try to do a 24 or maybe 36-hour stream. And each of us taking turns at streaming. So could be a lot of fun. So yeah, join the Facebook group if you're not on Facebook. Stay tuned to the x-plane.org and X Aviation forums. Look for XPlaneCon, and we'll talk about some details. I do need some volunteers though, but most of all, I just need people to plan a weekend to Vegas where you're gonna hang with fellow X-Plane pilots, and if we can get a crew there, then we're gonna be a lot better off for the following X-PlaneCons to come. But I need your help, so let me know if you're interested in coming, and what would be of interest for your first X-PlaneCon. I see down the road, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, we're going to have a very similar format to Flight SimCon, for example. And but I think the first few years we need to work up to that point where we can justify a exhibit floor, for example. But we'll get there if we have your participation. So as you can see, this flight is entered IMC, and just making our way down to Palomar. Tempted to clear the weather, but I'm not so sure you can clear the weather on a replay. Let's try it. Never do stuff like this live in the middle of an Xplanated episode. So moving on. I wanted to announce that Aerobasque is developing yeah, that didn't work. Well, maybe it did a little bit. Maybe they're fading out. Oh, here we go. Are they fading out, the clouds? Maybe a little bit. Yeah, the replay may show the clouds still. I have to investigate the possibilities there. Anyway, Aerobasque is developing a GTN 750. So I wanted to talk about how excited I am about that. Just show a little clip here in the background. Again, this is, did I say Alabasque? Aerobasque. Aerobask is developing a GTN 750N and 650 for Xplane, and this was one of my favorite add-ons in P3D and FSX. It's something that I missed. It was from Flight 1. So to hear that Aerobask are developing this GTN 750 for Xplane is very exciting news. And I just can't say enough about how happy I am that this awesome utility will be available. No dates have been announced. Nothing concrete. I would, if Aerobask happens to tune in, I would love to be on your beta team if you get to a point where you need some volunteers. So yeah, they're developing that, and we're very, very excited about that. Just the ability to have that graphical representation in your cockpit is pretty cool. All right, well, the next subject, as we make our way down to Palomar in the clouds, is many of you watch Twitch.tv live streams, and I have really been enjoying Bellens on Twitch lately. He got a new computer, and he has not reinstalled P3D as of a few days ago. And he's been flying on Xplane and on Pilot Edge, and I've really enjoyed the content. In fact, I haven't subscribed to anyone on Twitch.tv before. I've thought about a few people, but some of these people stream many other games, which is awesome, and it's definitely a way to have a great audience and have a good time. I tend to gravitate toward people who, as far as donations and subscriptions, that do flight simulation 95% of the time. But that being said, I did a subscription to Bellens, and I've really enjoyed that channel. He did a giveaway for a $50 gift certificate to the x-plane.org store, and I did it as well. In fact, I did one, and he matched it, and it was very very generous of him to do so. And he also gave a plug out to my twitch.tv/JonFly channel, and I just think that's really cool, Matt. So if you're listening, I really appreciate you being on Xplane and Pilot Edge, and giving back to the community, not only through monetary means, but also giving a shout out to a fellow streamer. You did a stream with Josh and I and a few others on Pilot Edge group flight, and I really enjoyed that out to Catalina, and I think we took off from Brackett and on Pilot Edge, and it was really fun to be in there and see your viewers interacting with you and giving you feedback and complimenting Pilot Edge, etc. And it was just really cool, and I'm sure that Josh got many followers out of that situation, and so did I. So I really appreciate you, going to that platform and talking about the other Twitch streamers that are out there. That's great, and I look forward to the next flight, and hope your new computer is doing well, and hope you are as well. The other guy I was going to talk about on Twitch TV, which is a member of the my Twitch team, Global Sim Alliance, is AeroSim Gaming, and AeroSim Gaming is doing some great streams. He's got a lot of knowledge up there, and one of the most enjoyable streams that I caught recently is a stream where he is reconstructing or evaluating my crash, my stall in the 727 Fly JSim 727 V2. And he's talking about the situation where this has happened in the real world, where there have been captains who have even stated in the cockpit, I'm a little bit slow here, or something's not right, and they don't do anything to correct it. So in Aerosim Gaming, in his eyes, I stated, I think 3 or 4 times, my speed's really low, but I didn't do anything about it. And that's the great thing about flying on the simulation and on flying on Pilot Edge, is you learn things, and the next time you go, you remember that situation. So the next time I did the Loop 8 departure out of Los Angeles, I watched my pitch. If I was getting too slow, I changed my pitch of the airplane, and I've gotten much better at not stalling the 727 V2. Some of you caught another stream where I did crash another jet airliner. That one is still being investigated. Maybe Aerosim Gaming can give us a deconstruction of that crash. I have to also give a shout out to Fly JSim, Flying Jack, for posting a link of the crash of the 727 V2 on his Facebook group called Fly JSim. Like I say, it's like the 3rd or 4th most popular video on my channel now. But again, the next time I flew that, I did not make the same mistake. So live and learn, right? Fly and learn. All right, well, I'm not sure how exciting these clouds are, but sometimes you just don't have a choice. You have to fly IFR. Maybe we'll move this up a tad and see if we can get some scenery here in just a little bit. Yeah, we see a little bit through the ground, but not much. The next subject. So I fly on FS Economy. Some of you know this. So it's a virtual airline economy. And again, I'll put a link in the show notes below. On FS Economy, I've been making money for 6-8 months, slowly building up my bank balance, and in an effort to buy a plane. I think I talked about it on a previous episode. Well, I made that purchase finally. I finally bought this particular plane, the Caravan 208 572 Alpha Uniform. And I didn't have quite enough money to buy it. Normally this plane ranges between $600,000 and $900,000, depending on how it's equipped and the age of the plane and the engine time. Because of some new rules, they've instituted some ownership fees, and so there was a fire sale on a lot of planes up until July 1st. And so because the fees went into effect July 1st. So I found on the FS Economy website that I could buy this particular plane for $540,000. Quite a significant discount. So I did. I didn't have $540,000, so I had to borrow $240,000 plus a little bit more for processing, etc. But so I went to several sites and I looked at, because it's a virtual economy, right? So there needs to be a bank that's lending people money. And I found through Bonanza Dude, some of you may follow Bonanza Dude on twitch.tv. John's a friend of mine, and he has a company called Independent Finance. I didn't even know he had this company, and he's one of the primary folk in this business. So I made a down payment of $300,000, and I borrowed almost $250,000. It's going to be payable over 12 months. Now my monthly payment is somewhere around $24,000-$25,000. So it's forcing me to fly FS Economy and make that money back to. So a year from now, the plane should be owned outright, unless I go crazy and start flying all the time and pay it off earlier. But I'm kind of excited because it worked up to a point, and if you want to add a little bit of task to your flight simulation, a little bit of entertainment, make it a little more immersive, I highly recommend adding FS Economy to your hangar. Next subject. So as I tout on this vlog and also on my live streams, GPB 500 scenery is amazing. And I recently was doing a live stream, and the author, GPB 500, was watching the stream, and he noticed that I didn't have some trees and that were normally on the at the airport and surrounding the airport. And for a little while, we've been trying to figure out what it was. Is it my ortho photo? Is it my rendering settings? Is it some, what's going on? And finally today, he said, "Hey, send me your scenery.ini file, and also send me your xplanelog.txt file. Let's take a look at what's happening." So he took a look at that, and he figured out that I had a library. I think it was the World Models library, and that had a conflict with the tree line at San Luis Obispo. So we removed that library, and all of a sudden we had trees at the airport along the borders and along near the winery. Why I had World Models in there? I guess World Models library may be related to World to Xplane. I don't run World to Xplane. So what I think I did is there is a library installer program. I think it's by Tom Knudsen, I think, on the org store or on the org forums. And I think what I did is I installed every possible library that I could, just so I had everything. And so it's kind of a lesson to me and maybe to you that don't install all of these libraries unless you need it. If you're installing a particular airport and it says, "Hey, I need this, this, and this library," install those libraries. Don't go gung-ho and install every library that's available, because in this case it was a conflict, and I didn't need that particular library. So I removed that library, and sure enough, I've got trees back. So it's one of those things that it was difficult to find, but again, now my mindset going forward is maybe clean up my custom scenery folder, and watch what libraries I install. Now, if you're new to Xplane and you're new to custom libraries, comment below if you have any questions. I can give you some detail in response to those questions. But it's one of the nice things about Xplane is that all of your custom scenery, your airports, your mesh, your photo, all of that is maintained in one folder in Xplane. And then one thing that's really nice, right? So let's say you want a really fast boot up of Xplane. So you, golf course by the way down there. So you have Xplane on your SSD drive, your solid state drive, right? But your solid state drive is only 500 gig, for example. All of your airports and photo and mesh and everything, let's say it's a couple terabytes. Well, you don't have room on that SSD. So what I do is I create a symbolic link to another hard drive that's larger than my SSD. So I'm running Xplane off of the solid state drive, so the boot into Xplane is fast. And then I'm doing a symbolic link of the custom directory scenery folder over to this other hard drive. So it's one of the advantages of Xplane over other simulators is that yeah, you can it's not messing with the registry, and you can take that custom scenery folder and manipulate it. In this case, I took out a library and it fixed my problem. So there you go. So I was very happy about that that situation. All right, so we're going to bring in here, I think right here I'm getting vectors into the ILS approach 2.4 into Palomar KCRQ. And again, this has been mostly a display of clouds, not so much of the scenery around, but SkyMax Pro 3.1.2 is pretty good. And, you know, we flew this flight in the real world, so it was IMC in SoCal this morning. Next subject. So the question came to me the other day, how many people worldwide are in flight simulation as a hobby? I've heard someone guess that there were probably 250,000 people worldwide that are in flight simulation. Now, I'm not sure if that stat was backed up by anything, or if it was just a guess based on some sales numbers or what have you. And I wasn't sure if that was referring to active people or just people who were casual or all the above. So it made me start to think, okay, so if, let's say there's 250,000, how many of those are on Xplane? And so I did some digging, and I found, and another gentleman referred me to a page that gave me a little more insight into the situation. And so I'm just going to share with you that that page. This page is it's on streamdb.info, and it's showing the statistics of Xplane on Steam. So in this particular snapshot, at this moment, there are 70,558 owners of Xplane on Steam. There are 66,000 players. I don't know the exact difference between players and owners. Maybe it's 70,000 people have actually bought it, and 66,000 have actually played it. Now, 8,000 have played it in the last 2 weeks. At this particular moment, there are 271 flying right now, and the peak has any one point in time has been 370. Or 24-hour peak was 374, and the all-time peak is about a year ago at 439. So this is very interesting, and I'm wondering, as you can see here, October. Let's go back to August of 2014. You had this many players. Now I don't know the debut of Xplane, but as you can see, the trend is definitely on the up. So this backs up my theory that Xplane is definitely rising, right? Now, granted, some of this is related to the fact that Xplane goes on sale, and some people just buy things that are on sale, and whether or not they fly it regularly, I don't know. But I thought it was very interesting. But let's just theorize that that more people have purchased Xplane through the CD-ROM, DVD, and the digital download edition. More people have purchased Xplane than they have through Steam, because it's only been available on Steam, 2-3 years at most. So let's take that number. Let's say 70,000 people own Xplane on Steam. So I would guess that twice as many own Xplane outside of Steam. So let's just put that number to 140,000 at a minimum outside of Steam. Add that to the number on Steam, and you're over 200,000 people on Xplane. Now, if there are only 250,000 people worldwide that do flight simulation, those numbers don't add up. So I'm thinking we need to reevaluate what we think the number is for flight simulation, because as far as I can tell, we have 200,000 people that have purchased Xplane 10. Now, granted, my numbers could be way, way off. Maybe there's not twice as many people off of Steam that are on. I could be way off. So I'd love any input in the comments below on what you think the numbers are for Xplane. If you have any graphs or any statistics, obviously, if we could get Laminar to tell us what the sales number is for Xplane 10, that would help out a lot. But I'm not sure if we're gonna get that information. So I'm established here on the ILS 2.4 left approach here at Palomar. Not 2.4 left, but actually 2.4. I had an issue with capturing and maybe the speed, so I had to kind of do a drop down here in a little bit, and it was probably not the most realistic approach, but yeah. So that's the thing that I wanted to talk about today was the numbers of flight simulation. So I appreciate you chiming in with any comments regarding that. And while we're on the subject of statistics, let me just point your way to one more site, right? I just stumbled across this site. I did a search because what someone came to me and said the other day, well, they were watching me stream on Xplane on twitch.tv/JonFly. And they were seeing that I was doing shared cockpit. I'm flying a jet. I'm coming out of San Francisco. I've got awesome airport scenery. I've got awesome clouds. I've got this cool cockpit. I'm actually connected multiplayer. They were like, wow, this is so cool. How are you doing this? I need to get into this. They hadn't done any flight simulation. Tell me what you can to get into this. So of course I referred them to Cat Strader's Xplane. Welcome to Xplane video. Try the demo out. Fly for free. Don't judge the simulator on the default 172 because there's add-on aircraft that are better. Anyway, long story shorter. The gentleman, I said to him, I said, how did you find me? If you're not into flight simulation, how did you find me? And he said, well, I was just looking up the statistics on Twitch, and I was looking at different categories, and I noticed that flight simulation had a following, and then I went to this list, and you were amongst the top streamers for flight simulation. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know such a list existed. So I went to this twitchstats.net and I looked this up. And of course, I was surprised to learn that I'm 11th on the list of average viewers. Now, in the flight simulation world, if you get 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 viewers, that's pretty good following for this niche community. Bellins averages 342. He's a powerhouse. We all enjoy his content. Garak Direct, I haven't followed him. I'm not sure if he is. I got to check him out. Pilot H, of course, is a real-world pilot. Pilot Productions, we all know. Durka, we love him. And of course, the Josh J. Gibbs and Wriggles89, Sorcerer Dave, Aerosim Gaming, Chewy94, and JonFly. Now, if I do my calculations correct here, there are only 6 of these people that stream Xplane, I think. Bellins does Xplane part-time. That may increase. Durka does Xplane very part-time, but we're really loving Durka on Xplane. I don't think Pilot H does Xplane at all. Sorcerer Dave does Xplane. Aerosim Gaming does Xplane. And the 11th guy, JonFly, does Xplane. So I was very, very excited to see the statistics here. We also see Giant Unicorn here is Xplane individual, and then we go down the list. And this is going to help me go find people that are streaming. Now, granted, I don't tend to watch P3D streams, and so I'm not sure how many of those folks are P3D only. So yeah, glad to be on the list. I've been streaming since November, I believe, is my first stream. May have been late October, I think. So yeah, so 9 months, and having a ball. I have yet to stream anything but flight simulation. So, and you can see here I'm doing quite the drop into Palomar because the glide slope we didn't follow the glide slope with the approach mode properly. So a little bit of a steep descent here into Palomar. And you get a little more scenery. This is Mr. X scenery here. It's a part of the San Diego scenery. Comes with Palomar and Montgomery, I believe. So there's a little centerline landing for you. It was about 180 on the landing rate. Well, I hope you've enjoyed episode 4 of Xplanated. Please click the like button below or the dislike button below. Please consider clicking the subscribe button below. I kind of gauge whether or not this is gaining momentum, as you know, if this is actually if the audience is growing. It'll help me understand if this is something you enjoy. And if you don't like it, or if you like to see something else, let me know. I take feedback constantly. And sometimes I give feedback, but sometimes I give it too much. So take care, and happy flying to all of you.